You're listening to Money FM 89.3. I'm Ryan Huang. Welcome to this episode of UOB ASEAN Conversations, where we dive into the post-pandemic economic landscape and the aspirations of businesses in the ASEAN and Greater China regions to expand internationally. According to the UOB Business Outlook Study 2023 that surveyed over 4,000 businesses in Asia, it revealed that 4 in 5 businesses are eager to venture into overseas markets in order to drive revenue and profit growth. But they face some challenges. Now, joining us to discuss the insights from the study and how UOB stands ready to support their expansion plans is Eric Lian, Head of Group Commercial Banking at UOB. Thanks for joining me, Eric.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, Ryan, and thank you very much for having me this morning.
My pleasure. So let's talk about the study. This is the first time that the UOB Business Outlook Study has been expanded beyond Singapore shores to include some of your key markets in Asia. Over 80% of businesses express interest in expanding overseas, and the top destination markets are ASEAN and China. So what might be the reasons behind this response?
That is correct, Ryan. According to the survey, 83% of the businesses are keen to expand overseas. And these are largely from the Indonesian, Chinese, and the Vietnamese companies. And they are looking to expand into China as well as in Singapore, Thailand, and Malaysia. As you know, many businesses have already resumed business activities regionally and globally post-pandemic. And this is exactly why 8 out of 10 companies have indicated interest in expanding overseas. Why ASEAN, you may ask? Because this region expected to grow about 4.2% this year, well above the forecasted slowdown in the global growth. And the key drivers are the large domestic markets, supportive monetary policy, as well as the physical position. At the same time, we are seeing recovery in the travel, tourism-related, and service sector in ASEAN. And we also believe that ASEAN will benefit from the reopening of China borders. In the last few years, due to the supply chain issue, many companies are starting to adopt a China plus one strategy to base their operations in ASEAN market. Also, many Chinese companies are diversifying their manufacturing plants into ASEAN, using Singapore as a springboard into Indonesia, Vietnam, and Malaysia. And this is exactly what we in UOB is focusing on, helping them to venture into ASEAN, as we are the most well-represented in these key markets.
All right, Eric, so there's a clear desire to expand overseas. So let's unpack that. So walk us through some of the insights you're gathering around the aspirations and also the challenges faced by some of these businesses in going overseas.
Many SME looking to expand overseas may face challenges such as difficulties in finding the right partner to work with, insufficient manpower or resources to pave the way for expansion, and the lack of legal, regulatory compliance and tax support relating to the local markets. So to help the SME, we in UOB have set up a FDIA, what we call a Foreign Direct Investment Advisory Unit 10 years ago. And this is really to provide those companies coming here to ASEAN with a single point of access to UOB full suites of services in addition to banking, such as company secretariat services, legal advisors, and even tenancy for offices and apartment for this company to settle in ASEAN market. As for banking, we adopt the global relationship account management with a group relationship manager taking lead in coordinating internally within UOB to take care of their banking needs across all the key markets that they are in. For example, we have a Thai-based rubber group banking with us in Singapore as a treasury and trading center, with their operations and manufacturing plants in Vietnam and Indonesia. We set up an umbrella facility for them in this country, where they can move the banking facilities within the UOB group based on their needs, and more importantly, the tapping seasons, so that they can really maximize their cash flow within their group. So ultimately, we believe that to build businesses is to build connection for UOB as well as for the SME. So we want to bridge them with the right partners as well as the business insights and solution. This is what UOB comes in as a one bank for ASEAN.
Yeah, talking about bridges and connections, Eric. So UOB has emphasized the role of cross-border digital trade platforms in facilitating overseas expansion. How can businesses leverage these platforms effectively? What sort of support resources should they be looking out for and are available to them as they try to make sure their integration into international markets is as smooth as can be?
I think firstly, ASEAN as a key market, the trade is valued just under about 900 billion with China and over 500 billion with the US. Intra-ASEAN trade is another 500, 600 billion. And these are over 2 trillion of trade opportunities that we can see. If we add up the ASEAN trade with Europe, we're really talking about a total trade closer to about $2.5 trillion. And because of this, UOB is investing about 500 million to build our regional platform for cash management, supply chain management, and payments. We aim to be the number one bank for cross-border trade in Southeast Asia. UOB intends to focus on 8 sectors, driving about 70% of Greater China and ASEAN FDI and trade flow. And if you ask me, all these the 8 sectors include real estate and hospitality, TMT sector, banks and non-banks, construction and infrastructure, consumer goods, healthcare, industrial, oil and gas, and the chemical sector. So in short, UOB hopes to be among the top 3 players in this sector, and our platform is expected to help us to achieve that goal.
Yeah, Eric, I'm glad you mentioned supply chains because that seems to be an important area of concern. Supply chain disruptions have been one of the big points they pointed out, with 60% of SMEs reporting impacts on their supply chains. So how can companies effectively diversify their supply chains and build stronger relationships with their suppliers to mitigate some of these challenges?
Supply chain diversification is now a business imperative, as we have seen in the last few years. Many companies are diversifying their supply base in order to minimize shortages and disruption. Therefore, I think it is very critical to have a deep understanding of in-country operating environment, as well as business practices and risks. So in UOB, as I mentioned, we are the most well-represented in ASEAN, and we bank with many SME and local corporates in this region. We can leverage on our ecosystem partners, both domestically and the region, to connect the suppliers with the buyers. We also want to make use of our trade and supply chain capability to connect the businesses. We want to leverage on digitalization to minimize and to mitigate supply chain disruption. And this is why we continually drive adoption of digital banking to help companies diversify their supply chain through digitalization. In fact, in 2022, we launched our supply chain management capability on our UOB Infinity platform for clients in Singapore and in Hong Kong. And we will progressively roll out to clients in other markets this year. This platform will enable our clients to manage their banking needs in a simpler, smarter, and a more personalized manner with access to customized dashboard that show all the financial information in just one platform. The platform also facilitates connections with their suppliers, buyers, and distributors to exchange and validate trade documents, as well, I think more importantly also, to obtain financing smoothly through our UOB Infinity platform.
Yeah, clearly digitalization is a key area to focus on as they try to diversify their supply chains. We're in conversation with Eric Lian. He's the head of group commercial banking for UOB. Another key area, Eric, is the importance of sustainability, where the study highlighted about 90% of businesses acknowledge their significance of sustainability practices, but only 45% have implemented something like that. What are the main barriers preventing wider adoption of sustainability practices, and how can businesses overcome these barriers while maintaining profitability?
This insight actually is very consistent to what we see with our SME client as we talk to them. In fact, they all tell us that sustainability now is already a BAU, but many of them do not know how to start. And this is exactly what UOB can do to help.
BAU, business as usual.
Business as usual. And we want to make sustainability make simple. So when we talk to our clients, when we meet with them, we ask a few questions. Do you agree that sustainability is important and key to your businesses? What are you doing to reduce carbon footprint? how do you measure this footprint? We do have in-house programs such as the U-Solar, U-Drive, U-Energy to work with you. And you don't need to incur any additional cost. You are part of this industry that we have this bespoke solution. And this is not about just pointing you to the right direction. We also want to help you and work with various government agencies like the HDB or the ESG, where we can also provide some kind of solutions to them, working together with our partners. And sometimes we do have a lot of SME telling us that sustainability actually is quite costly, which I think is a myth. I think it's not true. If you really look at sustainability, if you get the right strategy, you get the right solution, actually sustainability will deliver tangible saving. For example, simple solutions such as switching to clean energy sources, as well as the application of heat-reducing facade on building, will lead to shorter payback time. And through our green financing solution, the cash outlay for SME can also be cushioned. In fact, in Singapore, Enterprise Singapore has various support schemes available for companies that are going green to help defray some of the costs during the transition period.
Yeah, the other area that seems to be something they might, I guess, overlook is how they believe sustainability is for large corporates only.
Yeah, actually, sometimes when we talk to our clients, they say sustainability, especially SME, they don't have the benefit of a chief sustainability officer.
Yeah.
Usually it's the CFO or somebody else in the company that double heads at it. So what it really tells us is that, it's not true that it's just for a large company, because for sustainability, for SME, they may enjoy the efficiency because all these sustainable solutions that they can apply can be done in proportion or in smaller scale or at lower level of complexity. While large corporate may have the financial resources to embark on their own ESG journey, SME clearly can work with ecosystem partner like UOB for one-stop assessment, advisory, and funding support in their ESG journey. I'll share a little bit more of our UOB Sustainability Compass, which is our response to help SME overcome such barrier, which they perceive that they are small and they may not have the financial resources.
Yeah, Eric, clearly there's a lot of concern about economies of scale, but I'm sure there are tools out there that can empower and enable some of these SMEs to do more.
So knowing the challenges that I mentioned above, SME face in implementing sustainability initiative, we have launched a UOB Sustainability Compass last year. This is a tool that provides a step-by-step guide for SME to kickstart their sustainability journey. The companies, all they need to do is to complete a 5 minutes assessment where our clients work together with our relationship manager, where we will produce a bespoke and customized report based on their industry as well as on their business readiness for sustainability. So with this report, SME are guided through a roadmap that identify the different phases of becoming a sustainable business. And we also lay out clear, actionable steps for them to do. At the end of the day, we really want to educate them on relationships that are important for them to embark on the sustainability journey, on the regulation, standard, and certification that will impact their sector. And we will recommend sustainable financing solution to kickstart all these sustainability initiative that they want to embark. So in fact, this tool is now available in Singapore and businesses in Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. In fact, I'm very proud to tell you that we have onboarded more than 1,100 SME to the Sustainability Compass in Singapore as a first quarter.
Oh, that's a great traction. And you also launched the Transition Finance Framework last year.
Yes. We launched the Transition Finance Framework that outlines solutions in the carbon-intensive and fossil fuel-based sector that may have difficulties in accessing green financing. As these customers transit towards a greener business model, they can access financing for their business activity with us. And in addition to the above, we have another 4 sustainable finance framework that includes smart city, green building developers and owners, the circular economy, and the sustainable trade finance. We will continue to simplify sustainable financing for SME looking to grow their business by strengthening their ESG capabilities.
Yeah, lots to look forward to on the sustainability journey. We've been chatting with Eric Lian. He's the head of group commercial banking for UOB. And this has been an episode of UOB ASEAN Conversations, where we looked at the post-pandemic economic landscape and the aspirations of businesses in the ASEAN and Greater China regions to expand internationally. Eric, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for having me too.
Money FM 89.3